You remember the pitch?
I do remember the pitch. Do you want the background on the pitch?
I want the whole story.
So,
this is the journey of the Williams family, who began with little. The Williams were one of the nascent groups who built the Colorado legal cannabis industry from scratch. 2016 is a year of tremendous growth and change for the family and the industry. This is part 7 of a 12-part series.
getting money, this is in 2000, it was probably 2012 when the story begins. And getting money in the cannabis industry was next to impossible. As a matter of fact, I had spent 3 years spending a lot of money trying to get money to no avail.
What does that mean?
That means that I would take trips, or I would have meals with people. I try to schmooze investors to come in and look at what we're doing and go through a lot of time and effort, due diligence, collecting all the data on our company, saying, look how great we are. And they would eat it up and get this information and take tours and all this stuff multiple times and then walk away. And it was a lot of effort, a lot of money, and to nothing.
I do remember Andy Williams' pitch, because Andy, not really the pitch itself, but I remember Andy. I remember how sincere he was. I remember that he was obviously desperately nervous getting up on stage, but somehow that nervousness served him. It really painted this picture of a guy who loved what he was doing, who was very, very comfortable building and operating grow rooms, who wasn't maybe so comfortable to be on the stage, and he did a great job. So I'll always remember that sort of juxtaposition of his character and how impressed I was by it.
I saw an article, and I think maybe my dad sent it to me, about Arcview that ran at a magazine somewhere in the country. And so I looked up Arcview, and I found it was an angel investment group that loaned money, or that brought accredited investors together with entrepreneurs and tried to marry them. So it was a Shark Tank for the cannabis industry. And so I called and I said, hey, I would like to take part in this. And he said, oh, I'm sorry, we only do ancillary businesses, so you can't touch the cannabis plant if you're going to come on stage for us. But that may change. And I said, okay, let me be the first. I want to be the first when this happens. Keep me informed.
Andy was the first entrepreneur that touched the plant, that did something that most investors understand. He cultivated cannabis and he sold it, right? It's about the simplest business out there, and it's what people think about when they think about the cannabis industry.
So over the next half a year or maybe a year, I would touch base with Troy and say, is it coming? Is it coming? And so finally he gives me a call, I think sometime in July
2013.
Yeah, or June 2013. It says, hey Andy, we're going to have our first marijuana touching companies pitching. I want you to apply. I said, yes, I get to apply. And so we had, I think, less than a month to come up with our application. And I get online and I'm thinking, okay, I've got all this stuff, I can put it together in this great business plan. And I noticed that I'm restricted to 256 characters for the operating plan, and 256 characters for this and that. And I was like, holy cow, every word counts. And so I remember getting you involved, and you and I stayed up late. This was right when you started with the company.
He was the first person in that boat that came on stage with a great team, with a really in-depth plan and the kind of charisma to inspire people. And so they raised $1.6 million in a matter of a couple pitches over the course of a couple months, which was at that point the most anybody had ever raised. And I believe all those investors have gotten their money back now too. So it's also one of the first success stories of people actually getting their money back out in a deal like that.
We stayed up late, getting every word to count.
It was just so clearly the first real best pitch, right? It was the first real best pitch. And so we named our best pitch prize after Andy.
We would go back and forth on word, how does this sound best? What's going to be most impactful? But it was really challenging.
Yeah.
I went to my first Arcview meeting in Denver in 2013 and met Andy Williams, and immediately felt this instant connection. regular family man, nice guy, had a lot of publicity, and invited me to come see his cultivation facility, and I was very excited about the opportunity of possibly investing with him because I just saw his vision. I saw what he needed the money for to expand, and then when I heard the convertible note was 18%, I jumped all over that and trusted this family and what they had accomplished so far, and it was my first investment in the cannabis industry and probably the most lucrative to this point. So
Still to this day.
to this day, yeah. Andy Williams is a smart man. He's a really smart guy. He's very genuine. He's very likable. And for some reason, I had no problem handing this man a significant amount of money and just rolling the dice in a high-risk industry. I just had an instant connection that he knew what he was doing. He was doing it. And he was just very well liked, and I liked him. I met his sister Sally, and once again, just lovely, buttoned up lady. The mom who started them and backed them early on, and his brother who had all the attributes Andy didn't, but was able to really talk about the plant and overseeing all of the growing and operations. I thought they made a nice mix, and the fact that it was family owned was important to me. I come from a family owned business, and that just struck a chord with me.
I am a professional investor and I invest in people. And I know Andy's background, been exposed to him principally through Arcview for the last several years. I see the success that he's been able to realize, and I love the team he's put together for these multiple businesses in the cannabis space. When I first met Andy, he was presenting on stage trying to raise some money to build out his cultivation facility. That was an opportunity that I missed, and I regret that. And so when the second opportunity came around to invest in Medicine Man Technologies, I jumped on it. It goes beyond family for me. I've had a chance to develop a relationship with several members of the family. They are extraordinary and welcoming people, and as an enterprise, they take wonderful care of their patients and their customers, their adult use customers.
And we only have 5 minutes. So we had 5 minutes to say, here's who we are, here's why we're good, why we're going to succeed, here's what's in it for you, here's the money we want, please give us money.
I was fortunate enough to be at an Arcview conference, and I was riding down in the elevator, and there was Andy Williams with his now fiance Cynthia, and we were both going to a dinner, and we just started talking, sat next to each other at dinner, and have become family since. It was the story about the family, and it was the story about how Pete and Andy got the initial seed money from their mother. And it was like, everyone loves a story, a good story. And even if you have a fantastic person with a fantastic business, if there's no real meaningful story that you connect with, then it's not going to be as meaningful and as special. But because the family story and the entire family is involved in the business on a day-to-day basis, that makes that situation so much more special.
I was like, you have 5 minutes. So I'd go in the office, shut the door, lock the door so that no one knocked on it. Like, all right, go.
Oh, we did it so many times.
So many times. And I'd be timing him, stop, you know. He'd be in 2 slides. Stop. It was funny. Like, it was like, I don't know what you could compare it to, but we had a good time.
And this was all because 2014 was around the corner, and we were betting that the demand was going to really spike, which we happened to be right. Thank you very much.
But in the meantime, when all this is going on, we're also expanding, right, to prepare for January 1, 2014. So this is simultaneous with a rapid expansion and tons of learning curve, compliance, and you know, all the regs are coming out, and we're trying to figure out how do we comply with what we need to do to be a recreational.
Get licensed. Oh, we were the first in line to get licensed.
That's
too.
right.
Remember that story came out? Okay. We were first in line. We got a story in the Denver Post that said Medicine Man was the first one to apply for this, which I don't really think was true, but the paper printed it, and so we went with it. Yeah,
it's true.
We tried like hell. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but it was very interesting, fast moving times.
We were a business that had gone through 4 expansions already, and this was going to be our 5th. And we had a chart that showed every time we expanded, Revenues went up. Expanded again, revenues went up. Expanded again, revenues went up. We got healthier and healthier and healthier as we expanded. So this was one more step up in that ladder of expansion. So we were saying, this is not risky, guys. You have a proven business here with great financials, and every time we've done exactly what we want this money for, we've
done what we say we're going to do.
That's right.
Yeah.
And so yes, we're not going to give you equity because we can't because of Colorado laws, but we're going to give you a great interest rate. And so it ended up being 18% interest for unsecured loans, and so everybody won. So matter of fact, December is our last payment.
Last payment of all those loans.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it's not a cakewalk. He put a lot of hours and probably working 24/7 on solving a lot of issues and a lot of early on. I mean, they went through a lot of sweat and tears, and it probably wasn't that easy raising, raising money. But he certainly accomplished what he needed to because he stuck with it and worked hard and surrounded himself with good people.
They're developing a brand that I think is going to be one of the winners in the marketplace. They have a footprint that transcends any single market, and they are doing wonderful things for the industry and the operators within it.
As wonderful as Medicine Man is right now, it's only going to get bigger. And there are opportunities to get bigger, and it's going to happen. And I want to help the Williams family as much as I can to get there, because they're incredibly special to me, and they're like the family I've always wanted.
Last time I saw Andy in a suit,
Yes.
I'll tell you that.
So all day long, I'm like trying to find the coolest spot so that I don't start sweating. We were the last presenter of the day. Yeah. So the room is, people are wanting out of there. There had been some really bad pitches that day because Arcview has really come along as a company with vetting and helping people. And so the room was impatient. And this was right after the floods in Colorado.
Yes.
And so I got up on stage and we started off by donating, because Steve D'Angelo was raising money to help flood victims in Colorado, and so we started off by donating to that effort, and that bought us an extra 2 minutes. I
Yeah,
think.
we got 2 extra minutes, which was worthwhile.
Yeah, it was. Then we helped Coloradans out, and the pitch went off really well. I remember there's a glitch in the slides, but it didn't matter because I'd done it too many times.
But you got on stage kind of like you do now. Like we're, at every conference when you're the rock star, when he walks in the room, and everyone's like, "Oh, hey, Andy," and everyone wants a piece of his time. You wouldn't know the difference between then and now because he gets on stage and he just commands it.
Oh, that's nice.
And I was so proud. I was standing on the sidelines, kind of mouthing the words along with him. And I was so proud of Ken and I were standing there. I just remember just kind of swelling up like, yes.
That was cool.
Nailed it. Nailed it. It was
that was fun.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, when I was done, I felt so good.
Yeah,
People invest in people.
Yeah.
They don't invest in things. Yeah, that is true. I'm so happy now. I'm at a point in my life where I don't need to wear suits, and I'm going to design my own clothing line for guys that get hot a lot. And I don't know what it'll be. Really thin, not sheer, but thin. And and it'll look nice, but it won't be a suit.